Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting edition of Photoshop. Today we're going to be learning about filters. Filters are cool effects that you're probably more than familiar with Instagram and the like, but today we'll be using the filters of Photoshop. All right, so the first item of business is that we need to start a project. And today's project is actually going to require us to play around with the settings. You can go up to Photo when you click on New Document, and I want you to put in the following measurements. For width, I want you to put 38 centimeters. For height, 38 centimeters. I want you to crank up the resolution to 150. Okay? And then you're going to click Create. Okay, so you should have a perfectly square box that looks something like this. I'm going to unlock the layer now. I'm also going to go ahead and drop in my son. This is Mason Wade. Say hello, Mason. And so I'll just be copying this and pasting it in. Okay, so there he is. I'm going to deselect Mason and drag the white layer to the top. All right, so the first item of business is to create a guide layout. And the reason why we're doing this is a guide layout is a great way to outline where we want to put what. Now, I've already set up this for today's assignment. We want 3 columns, 3 rows, 10 centimeters apart, with a 2 centimeter gutter and 2 centimeter margins. And it should look something like this. And what we're going to do is create kind of a tic-tac-toe grid of photos. I'm going to click OK. The reason why this is good to use is because in the event that you know exactly where you want things to be, you can just use the guides to help you cut and paste the various elements of your composition. I have the rectangular marquee tool selected, and I'm just clicking and dragging to the edges of the squares. And of course, the checkerboard reveals that this is, in fact, transparent. So, very quickly done. Pretty good. All right, and if I click on Mason, you can see that he's underneath it. All right, so we're going to change, we're going to play around a bit with this photo of Mason. I'll click on Mason. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to kind of drag him to the top. His fingers are kind of sticking out. I might make this a little bit smaller. I've got the photo clicked and I pressed Command or Control T. This activates the pre-transform. I'll drag him in and kind of center him. His fingers are going to get a little bit cut. That's okay. All right, so that's pretty good. It's pretty centered and framed. Good. So what I'll do now is I'm going to be cutting out, first I'll accept the changes up here, and then I'll be cutting out some of the stuff that I don't really need. And I'll be doing that using, I'll just use still the rectangular marquee tool. So cutting stuff off that I don't need. Oops. And, okay, so there's Mason. All right, so what we're going to do now, and there is some stuff up here still. I'm going to click the Move tool. You'll see if I grab him, there's more stuff I'm going to cut out just because it's beyond the canvas. Okay, so chopping. Okay, so that's good. Going back to the Move tool, moving them back. Okay, so now we're going to copy this. Now, I did teach you how to copy without going to copy paste. If you hit the hotkey for Option or Alt and click on your picture, you can just click and drag. And as you notice, as I do this in the layers panel, each time we make a copy, a new corresponding layer appears. So now we have 9 layers over here. All right, so I'll reactivate the layer, and I'm going to do a bit of writing. I still have all these grids, which I am just going to get rid of. So I'm going to go down to rulers, actually extra. If I click on extra, all of this will disappear. All right, I'm going to go back to text. And by the way, this is something that I failed to bring up, but something that I would recommend in terms of changing in your settings. If you go to General and go down to Type, I really recommend you clicking on this. The placeholder text can get really annoying. So you want to deactivate that. All right, so I'm going to go to the text box, and I'm going to click and drag in a text box right under the name of the top left one, and here I'm going to write Mason. Now, you can't see mine because my text was below the layer, and it just disappeared. In your top left picture, you will just write the name of your subject. Your second photo, however, this is where it's going to get interesting. All right, so I'm going down to the second layer, which in my case is layer 1 copy. That's this picture here. And I've clicked on the layer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to filters and start playing around with filters. First I'm going to go down to filter gallery. Although all of these are various filters that you could use as well. You could use any number of these. For instance, I'll begin with oil paint. So oil paint, I've selected, and there is this preview that pops up. And for some reason it's not, oh, there it is. Okay, so this is the preview of the oil painting. So today is all about playing around with the various filters and the settings. I want you to try to use different filters and see their different effects, and just get to know how it works and what you like to do. Like in any Adobe program, so much of this is a question of taste that will just develop over time as you become more comfortable with the tools. So that's kind of interesting. I'm going to click OK. All right, so I've got the first one. Now I'm going to write underneath it the filter used here. And once again, my text was underneath the layer so we couldn't see it. All right, and you are going to continue to do this for all the remaining photos. This is a fun activity. Get to know Photoshop and create an interesting work of art that you can show off and maybe print and put on your wall. All right, that's it for today.